What's happening, guys? James Blonde here with MMOHuts.com, this time with a first look at Funcom's latest title, LEGO Minifigures Online, a LEGO-themed MMORPG or action RPG with an isometric view, targeted a little bit more towards the younger crowd. Now, in this game, you're able to actively swap between 3 LEGO minifigures at a time, all of which you can collect across the various LEGO worlds, and each having their own unique abilities. As of now, there are about 40 different minifigures you can collect, and the game just hit open beta, so anyone can hop in and try it out, and I'll give you guys a quick rundown on what you can expect to see. Starting out, you choose between 3 sets of starting minifigures. These are the ones that you get to swap between as you start out. Over here, you've got the Hollywood Starlet, who will beat you senseless with her Oscar, the Alien Avenger, and of course the Sea Captain. So each one of these groups is fairly based in terms of the stats on the individual minifigures, and with the variety of characters you've also got a decent variety of archetypes. Like, some of these are casters with AoE damage, some do melee damage, some are ranged, in fact a lot of them are ranged, and some of them are support characters. The game categorizes them under 8 different types of minifigures, and most of them have 2 different types, so it's almost like they're broken into subcategories. You've got Builder, Light Magic, Striker, Tech, and a couple of others, and there are specific situations that call for whatever type of minifigures, but you won't really know this until you come across whatever it may be. But I can say, for example, the Builder, if you have one as your 3, they have high creativity stats. So you can build things a lot faster than you can with a minifigure that doesn't have high creativity. That's actually one of the reasons why I picked this group to start off. So I suppose that you can't choose your own name because it's a game whose primary audience may be on the younger side, so you can spin the name wheel of fortune here however many times you want to until you figure out what name you like best, like Wild Chunky Sandwich. Best random name ever. After that, you start out in this area for a basic tutorial, but I've got to admit the background and overall visuals look pretty decent. Not quite as good as some of the other LEGO games that I've played, like LEGO Marvel Heroes, but it's also not bad either. The tutorial basically shows you what you can do, like destroy a lot of stuff around the area, like you do in a lot of the other LEGO games. Otherwise, the controls are pretty self-explanatory. WASD moves, or you can left-click around the map. Q activates your health potion, which you really don't need until way later on in the game. Or if you accidentally hit it by trying to switch to your characters on the fly. Right and left click are your figure's 2 abilities, and 1, 2, and 3 allow you to switch between your figures on the fly, which is something that you can do in order to keep yourself from getting smashed. That's actually what they call it when you die. If you switch from one wounded minifigure to another to pick up hearts that drop from the enemies and a lot of the breakable objects, you can allow them to heal. And seeing this is a figure collection game like Pokemon, I'm allowed to make this reference. It's kind of like putting them back into their Pokeballs for a little while, except it doesn't take that long to regen. So like I mentioned briefly before, each minifigure has 2 different abilities. Yeah, I know, only 2. But like the plumber here, he's ranged, so his first ability is to throw plungers dealing damage. It's pretty straightforward. Good for single enemies, not so much for a group, which is how a lot of the enemies are found. But for that, he's got an AoE knockback that doesn't do a whole lot of damage, but it does give you the distance you need to start lobbing plungers again, or switch to another minifigure like the Forest Maiden. Now, she's ranged as well. She does a triple shot that's most effective mid-range due to its spread, but she also has a rope arrow, as they call it, that puts down an AoE that slows and deals damage, also letting you gain distance. And the Cyclops here is melee mostly, so his first ability is to crush stuff, but it does do a lot of damage, so he's really good to switch to if you're taking on a big single target enemy. And of course his second ability is the good old I-Beam of Death that deals damage in a straight line. So that kind of gives you an idea of how the standard starter minifigures play. And then of course one of the main objectives in the game is to collect all of these minifigures, so you can pick up new random ones by completing quests, or sometimes you just loot them randomly, but they are pretty rare. And I can say that there's no doubt that some of them are better than others. I happen to pick up one of the most rare and most OP minifigures in the game currently, which happens to be Medusa, of course. She's awesome at both single and multiple enemies, and she's all about the damage. So her first skill lets her fling snakes at you. You know, to be honest, that would mess anybody up. And her second ability is her petrifying gaze, which doesn't exactly turn them into stone so much as it just sucks the life out of them. So yeah, it's pretty OP, but put it this way, she's good enough that it was rare for me to need to switch to any of my other figures for variety where you would normally otherwise need to. But like I said, you find these new minifigure packs randomly for the most part, and it gives you a random minifigure, so you never know what you're going to get. I just got lucky with Medusa. So just like your typical MMORPG, you level up as you gain experience fighting the mobs and doing quests along your adventure, which starts you out in the pirate world in this case, then takes you to the medieval LEGO world, and from there you've got the space world, getting harder as you go along. And of course there are subworlds in between, like for example in the pirate world we also see tribal world, basically. But now that the game is in open beta, they've also given players access to mythology world as well. So yeah, your account levels up as you progress, but you can also add attributes and essentially level up your individual minifigures by using stars you pick up to put towards passives that you can unlock. See, if you pay more stars, you gain access to these passives that you can choose to take one or the other passive here on the right, and this gives you small bonuses like speed boost after killing an enemy or quicker health regen after killing an enemy, and like this one here, you gain access to more damage, or here you can just increase your overall speed in general. Same thing goes for the left side, except it's staggered and you don't get to choose your passive on this side for some reason. You get whatever's next, I guess, but you do have to meet certain account level requirements in order to make your way through this tree. So players with a lot of stars can't just max out minifigures passives just because they have a lot of stars. You can also use diamonds to pay for these upgrades and a lot of other stuff in the game. And the diamonds are both in-game and real cash currency, but I'll talk a little bit more about that in a bit. Now the game also lets you increase your account's overall stats with the brick builder system. This uses bricks that you collect as you go along to put into this base plate shape here, which is a game controller. And the bigger the brick you can fit into this area, the more the boost you gain from it. So you can swap out from using the little ones to using the bigger ones to get more points. You'll notice that it increases my power stat here. Plus you can switch to defense from power to creativity depending on what stats you want to increase, and you can mix match. Of course you're going to play the lever systems to where you add one, you're going to take away from the other. The different colors are associated with the different stats, of course. I put all mine into the power, mainly because I just kite the enemies around with my mediocre Path of Exile kiting skills, and I haven't really needed the defense. What I don't understand here, though, is how many bricks of each type I have to use. Instead of a number, it just gives me a bar. I guess that really isn't that important anyway. But regardless, that's another way you can increase your overall account stats, and in my case, make Medusa that much more powerful. Now, despite my ability to switch characters before dying, I still got smashed, as they like to call it in this game, and what happens then is that minifigure gets put on a 20-minute cooldown timer before they are rebuilt, before you can actually play them again. You can, however, pay diamonds in order to revive your minifigure instantly, and the cost of the diamonds goes down as the timer gets shorter. Otherwise, you've got to wait. But at least it's not permadeath, and I can't imagine if the cooldown timer was, say, a day, that would be a lot less appealing. But if you happen to die, you can also pick other minifigures from your collection if you have them. So basically, if you've got a large collection of minifigures, dying really isn't that much of an issue. So now, back to the in-game and real cash currency. You've got stars, which goes towards your stats like we talked about, and you've got diamonds, which you can use to buy new random minifigures, minifigure packs, which is like a small collection of similar minifigures, like you see here, and health potions, which is something you also get to pick up along the way. Now, you can buy more diamonds with real money, or you can pick them up by completing major storyline quests, which happens kind of often. I've played the game for about 3 or 4 hours in total, starting with 0 diamonds, and I've earned enough diamonds in order to get what you see here, which is enough to get a new minifigure. Now, this is what surprised me a little bit about this game. It does have a freemium style business model. So you can play the game for free and you can get all the minifigures and earn them for free ultimately, but you get a lot more if you're a member. And it shows us right here what members get. 50 diamonds every week, 1 minifigure a month, gain stars faster, and this right here means that you gain access to more of the game. So there are several dungeons around even the early game part that you can't enter unless you remember. That's kind of lame. One of the biggest drawbacks, though, is that you can't chat with other players, nor can you access the friends list or join friends in-game unless you remember. The only thing you can do is join up with other players that are around you, the ones that you can specifically see on this list. And even then, you can't chat with them. So, like I said, that's the biggest drawback. Now, interesting enough, they do have a way to purchase 1 month of membership status with diamonds. If you notice, it'll cost you 2,000 diamonds, which isn't bad, honestly. Seeing that upon membership, it looks like you get a minifigure, which would normally cost you about 750 diamonds by itself. You get refunded 50 diamonds every week, basically. You get more stars, which helps you upgrade your minifigures easier, despite the leveling limitations. And you get access to more of the game, which is nice, with more than likely higher chances to discover and pick up new minifigures. So unfortunately, there is a big push in this game for members, but it is nice that they've got a system set up kind of like WildStar's cred system that lets you pay for a month of membership status with a currency that you can get just by playing the game. The only drawback here is that a lot of players are not going to like what you're not able to access if you don't have a membership. There's always a catch. But other than that, guys, the game is fun to try, especially if you're a fan of Legos. It can get a little bit challenging if you try to rush through the content, unless you have Medusa, of course. No, I'm just kidding. Beforehand, I didn't realize that it was going to be marketed towards the younger crowd as much as it is. I would say it's even younger than the Lego movie was marketed towards. So, if you're not going to check out the game on your own, it would probably be a perfect game to play with a little brother or sister. At least that's what I got out of it. But thanks for watching, guys. If you're looking for more information about LEGO Minifigures Online, head over to the MMOHuts game profile. Otherwise, the game is an open beta. Like I said, it's ready for anyone to play. The download is actually surprisingly quick. Thanks again, and until next time, guys, that's going to be it for me. I'm James Blonde. See you out there, gamers.
Man.